They thought they were hitting an easy target in Millbrook Heights, just another rundown garage on the outskirts of town, where an aging mechanic spent his days fixing cars and minding his own business. The local thugs saw Sam Cooper, working alone in his shop, covered in grease, talking softly to customers about timing belts and brake pads, and figured he'd be a perfect mark for their protection racket. What the Red Skull crew didn't realize was that Sam wasn't just a simple mechanic. He was a decorated bomb squad veteran with 15 years of experience defusing the most complex explosive devices in war zones across 3 continents. Their decision to target his garage would ignite a sequence of events that would shake their criminal empire to its foundation. The morning started like any other at Cooper's Auto Repair. Sam's weathered hands moved with practiced precision over the engine of Mrs. Davidson's old Volvo, methodically checking connections while his security cameras silently tracked movement outside. 3 unmarked vans had been circling the block for the past hour, their drivers paying too much attention to his property. After 2 decades of dealing with improvised explosive devices, Sam had developed an instinct for sensing when something was about to detonate. "Morning, Mr. Cooper," Kelly Martinez called out, his 19-year-old apprentice arriving on her beat-up bicycle. The girl had natural talent with engines, reminding Sam of himself at that age, before he'd learned to defuse much deadlier machinery. "Shops enclosed today, Kelly. Head home," Sam said quietly, his eyes never leaving the security feed. "But Mr. Cooper, the Wilson family's truck, will wait. Go on now. Use the back alley." Something in his tone made Kelly pause. She'd never heard that edge in her mentor's voice before. As she pedaled away, the first van pulled into the garage's lot, followed by 2 more taking positions at strategic points around the property. 6 men emerged, all wearing red bandanas, the signature of the Red Skull crew that had been terrorizing local businesses lately. Their leader, a tall man with elaborate skull tattoos covering his neck, approached. The garage, Marcus Stone, according to the intel Sam had been quietly gathering. Ex-military himself, dishonorably discharged, now running what he called a business protection service that had already driven 3 family shops into bankruptcy. "Nice setup you got here, old-timer," Stone called out, his voice carrying that particular tone that Sam recognized from countless tense situations, the false friendliness before violence erupted. Real, professional operation. Sam wiped his hands on a shop rag, keeping his movements deliberate and calm. Through his cameras, he watched Stone's men taking positions, 2 by the main entrance, 2 covering the side door, 2 moving toward the back. Professional work, suggesting military or law enforcement backgrounds, they were treating this like a tactical operation. "Help you with something?" Sam asked, his voice neutral, but carrying the kind of quiet authority that made Stone's men shift. Uneasily, "Actually, we're here to help you," Stone smiled, running a hand along a pristine tool chest. "You see, Millbrook Heights is changing, growing. Business owners need protection these days. Insurance against unfortunate accidents." Sam met Stone's gaze steadily. "Got insurance, several policies." "Not the kind you need," Stone's smile hardened. "Red Skull crew, we provide specialized coverage, comprehensive, for a reasonable monthly contribution." Through the security feed, Sam noticed more vans arriving, parking strategically around his property. 10 men total now. They were taking this seriously. Years of bomb disposal had taught him to read situations, to spot the moments when tension could spark into explosion. This was one of those moments. "And if I'm not interested in your coverage?" Sam asked, though he already knew the answer. Stone's eyes went cold. "Times are dangerous. Shops get vandalized. Tools go missing. Customers start having accidents. Smart business owners understand the value of protection." Sam set down his wrench, the sound echoing in the sudden quiet. 15 years of explosive ordnance disposal had taught him patience, taught him to handle volatile situations with steady hands and a calm mind. But it had also taught him when a threat needed to be neutralized. Let me be clear, Sam's voice remained neutral, but carried the kind of authority that made Stone's enforcers glance at each other uncertainly. My shop's not interested. Neither are the other businesses you've been threatening. Millbrook Heights isn't your territory. Stone's hand drifted toward his jacket. Wrong answer, old man. See, we're trying to be professional here, civilized, but some folks need a more direct demonstration of why our protection matters. That a threat? That's business advice. Think it over. We'll be back tonight for your answer. Make the smart choice. Hate to see anything happen to this nice shop. Or that girl who works for you. Sam's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his eyes. Stone caught it, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face. Touch my apprentice, Sam said quietly, and you'll learn things about me you really don't want to know. Stone laughed, but there was an edge to it. Tough guy, huh? Remember tonight. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. As the vans roared away, Sam was already moving. He secured the garage's main door and went to his office, pulling out a small notebook from a hidden compartment in his desk. Inside were careful notes about Red Skull Crew's activities, protection rackets, suspicious deliveries, patterns of intimidation. He'd been watching them for weeks, gathering intel out of old habit. His phone buzzed, a text from Detective James Chen. Saw Red Skull at your shop. Need to talk. Sam typed back, tonight after hours, bring what you have on them. Another. Buzz, this time from his wife Anna. Everything okay? Heard vehicles? Fine, late night at the shop, don't wait up. Sam walked through his garage, mentally cataloguing tools that could be moved, supplies that could be hidden. The smart play was to pay their protection money, look the other way like everyone else. But Sam hadn't spent 15 years defusing bombs in war zones to watch thugs devour a small town. His security cameras showed Red Skull members watching his shop from various positions around the neighborhood. They were doing surveillance, gathering intel for tonight. Professional work, but they'd made a crucial mistake. They thought they were dealing with a simple mechanic, someone they could intimidate with threats and demonstrations of force. Instead, they'd given a former bomb squad specialist exactly what he needed, probable cause to start dismantling their operation. Sam smiled slightly as he began his preparations. By threatening his shop, his apprentice, they'd made it personal. By tonight, Red Skull Crew would learn a hard lesson about judging a business owner by his cover. Detective James Chen arrived at Sam's garage just after sunset, his unmarked car pulling around back to avoid the Red Skull surveillance. Through his security cameras, Sam had counted 8 different crew members watching his property throughout the day, their rotations suggesting military-style training. You've got a problem, James said without preamble, spreading photos across Sam's workbench. They showed Red Skull members at different locations around Millbrook Heights, outside businesses, monitoring traffic patterns, meeting with figures. Inexpensive suits. Town's got a problem, Sam corrected, studying the images. How long have they been here? 4 months, officially. Started small, just passing through, they said. Then they bought that old warehouse on Cedar Street. No, they're offering protection to every business within 15 blocks. Sam pointed to one photo, showing Stone meeting someone in a police uniform. Your department? James's jaw tightened. Officer Mike Taylor. Internal Affairs has been watching him, but nothing solid yet. Red Skull's careful. They learn from their mistakes. Not careful enough. Sam pulled out his notebook, showing James his own surveillance notes. They're using the warehouse as a front. Late-night deliveries, heavy security, industrial chemicals. That have nothing to do with legitimate business. You think they're manufacturing? No. Storage hub. They're expanding territory, setting up infrastructure. The protection racket isn't about money. It's about controlling distribution routes. James studied Sam's notes. How do you know all this? 15 years bomb squad work in conflict zones. When you're defusing IEDs, you learn to spot patterns, how materials move, how networks operate, same patterns, different faces. That's why you're not paying them. That's why they're coming back tonight. Sam moved to a large tool cabinet, entering a code into a hidden panel. The back swung open, revealing carefully organized equipment that made James's eyes widen. They're coming to send a message, James started. They're coming to make an example, create fear, standard tactics. Sam began checking gear with practiced efficiency. But they don't know what I know. Which is? Red Skull's got a reputation in 4 states. Never been caught, never left witnesses. That means they're professionals, ex-military probably. Stone was special forces before his discharge. How is that helpful? Sam smiled slightly. Professionals. Follow patterns. Patterns can be predicted. More importantly, they can be used. A noise from outside, motorcycles approaching. James checked his phone. Multiple reports of Red Skull members converging on this area, at least 12 bikes. Right on schedule. Sam activated additional security cameras, showing Red Skull forming a perimeter around his garage. You should go. Plausible deniability. Sam, if they're coming in force, they're not here to kill me. They're here to make a statement, which means they'll bring an audience. Other business owners they're pressuring. This isn't just about my garage anymore. James headed for the back door, then paused. Be careful. These guys, they're not just thugs. I know. That's what makes this interesting. After James left, Sam made final preparations. He'd spent the day modifying his garage, adding surprises that would only be apparent to someone with his training. The security cameras showed Stone arriving with his main force, 10 bikes plus 3 vans. They were bringing tools for vandalism. Sam's phone buzzed. A message from Stone. Last chance to make the smart play. Another buzz, this time from Anna at the hospital. Police scanner reporting suspicious activity near the garage. Please be safe. And a third from Kelly. Mr. Cooper, Red Skull members are watching my house. My mum wants to know if we should call the police. Sam responded to Kelly first. Stay inside. You're not their target. Then to Anna. Everything under control. Trust me. He didn't respond to Stone. The first rock crashed through his front window. At exactly 10 p.m., right on schedule, professional crews liked round numbers, liked organization. Through the cameras, Sam watched Red Skull members dragging local business owners from their cars, forced witnesses to what happened to those who refused protection. Bring them around front, Stone ordered, his voice carrying in the night air. Make sure they have a good view. Sam stood in the shadows of his garage, watching through the broken window as Stone approached with 2 lieutenants flanking him, Jackson and Cruz, according to the intel he'd been gathering. One by the main entrance, one covering the side door. Professional work. Could have done this the easy way, Stone called out. Could have been reasonable. Now you have to be an example. Sam's voice carried clearly. Only example being set tonight is what happens when you target the wrong garage. Stone laughed. Big words from a man about to lose everything. Jackson Cruz, teach our mechanic friend about Red Skull's version of vehicle maintenance. The 2 enforcers approached, carrying metal bars. Behind them, more Red Skull members began smashing windows, spray painting their insignia on the walls. The forced witnesses watched in terrified silence. That's when Sam triggered his first surprise. The garage's industrial lights exploded to full power, momentarily blinding everyone outside. Simultaneously, targeted EMPs, courtesy of his bomb squad connections, disabled every vehicle within 50 feet. In the confusion, Sam moved. 15 years of EOD training took over. Jackson and Cruz were professionals, but they'd never faced someone who'd spent their career handling situations where one wrong move meant death. The fight was brief, efficient. Both enforcers were down before they realized what was happening. "Inside!" Stone shouted, but Sam had already disappeared into the shadows of his garage. Red Skull members charged in, finding themselves in a maze of tools and equipment arranged to Sam's advantage. The lights went out. In the darkness they heard Sam's voice. "You chose this garage because you thought it was an easy target, because you think violence and fear make you powerful. Time to learn why you're wrong." What followed would be whispered about in Millbrook Heights for years to come. The garage became a haunted house of professional-grade counterattacks, every shadow concealing a trap, every corner a surprise. Sam moved like a ghost, using his intimate knowledge of the space and years of EOD training to devastating effect. Within minutes, half of Stone's crew was down, not dead or seriously injured, but efficiently disabled. The forced witnesses outside watched in amazement as tough gang members stumbled out one by one, completely overwhelmed by a single mechanic. Through their confusion came bangs and flashes from inside the garage, followed by shouts of panic and the sounds of bodies hitting the floor. Stone, to his credit, recognized the situation was out of control. "Fall back!" he shouted. "Everyone out!" But Sam wasn't finished. As Red Skull retreated, they found their bikes wouldn't start. The vans were locked down and police sirens were approaching, not the local cops they'd paid off, but state police, responding to anonymous tips about criminal activity. "This isn't over," Stone shouted into the darkness. Sam's voice came from everywhere and nowhere. "You're right. This is just the beginning. You wanted to make an example of my garage. Congratulations. Now everyone knows what happens when you target the wrong business." As Red Skull fled on foot, leaving disabled vehicles and injured members behind, the gathered business owners watched in stunned silence. Sam emerged from his garage, calmly surveying the damage. His phone buzzed. "James, state police have detained 6 Red Skull members, but Stone got away." Sam smiled slightly. He expected that. Stone was a professional after all. But now, Red Skull had a choice to make: cut their losses and leave Millbrook Heights, or escalate against someone who clearly wasn't the simple mechanic they'd thought. Looking at his vandalized garage, Sam already knew which choice they'd make, and he was counting on it. Morning light revealed the full extent of Red Skull's attempted intimidation. Sam's garage bore their gang tags in red spray paint, broken windows, scattered glass across the lot, but the real message was in what they'd left behind: their disabled vehicles, now evidence in state police custody. Kelly arrived early, her eyes wide at the damage. "Mr. Cooper, I saw the videos online. People recorded everything on their phones last night. My mom says what you did, standing up to them." She trailed off, looking at the destruction. "Go home, Kelly. Shop's closed today." "No way, I want to help. My mom says what you did. People are talking about it all over town." Sam studied his young apprentice. The girl had guts, but that could get her killed. "Kelly, they were watching your house last night." "I know," Kelly interrupted. "If you hadn't warned us, I want to learn, not just about cars." Before Sam could respond, his phone buzzed. "James, need you at the station. We found something in those bikes." Sam looked at Kelly. "Fine, but you stay in the shop, work on the Wilson's truck. No going outside, no talking to anyone about last night." "Crystal clear, boss." At the police station, James led Sam to the impound lot. State police technicians swarmed over the abandoned Red Skull vehicles, methodically documenting everything. "Look at this." James pointed to a hidden compartment in one of the bikes. Custom built, professionally installed. They found them in all the vehicles. Sam examined the compartment. High-grade craftsmanship, pressure-sealed, temperature-controlled. Perfect for running product. But here's the weird part. Residue tests came back negative. No drugs. Because they're not carrying drugs, Sam realized. They're carrying something else. Check for chemical traces, industrial solvents, manufacturing supplies. James's eyes widened. "You think they're moving raw materials?" "Makes sense. Smaller quantities, easier to hide. Build up a stockpile, then manufacture locally." Sam studied the bike's modifications. These weren't done at their warehouse. Too professional. We tracked the work to a custom garage in Nevada, same state, where 4 other towns reported Red Skull protection rackets last month. They're establishing a supply line, Sam concluded. Millbrook Heights is just one point in a larger network. The protection racket isn't about money, it's about controlling distribution routes. A commotion at the station's entrance interrupted them. Officer Mike Taylor stormed in, making straight for James. "This is my jurisdiction," Taylor snapped. "State police have no authority." "They do, when it involves a multi-state criminal enterprise," James countered. "Or did Red Skull not tell you that part when they bought you?" Taylor's face darkened. "Watch your accusations, detective." "Or what?" Sam stepped forward. "You'll report him to your real bosses?" Taylor turned, finally noticing Sam. "The mechanic. You're causing a lot of problems for people who don't like problems." "Send them my bill. I specialize in fixing problems." Taylor moved closer, lowering his voice. "You have no idea what's really happening here. Walk away, for your own good." "Like you did." Sam matched his tone. "How much did it take, Taylor? What's the going rate for a cop's conscience these days?" Taylor's hand twitched toward his weapon, but James stepped between them. "That's enough, Officer Taylor. You're interfering with an active investigation. Leave now." After Taylor stormed out, James turned to Sam. "He'll warn them." "Count on it." "How long to process the evidence from the bikes?" "At least 48 hours. Why?" "Because we don't have 48 hours. Red Skull's going to move everything they can't afford to lose tonight." Sam's phone buzzed. "Anna. 3 overdose cases just came in. Something new. Doctors haven't seen anything like it." Another message followed immediately. "Unknown number. You cost us some valuable property, mechanic. Hope your insurance covers fire damage." Sam showed James the messages. "They're accelerating their timeline. The protection racket, the supply. Runs, it was all groundwork for something bigger." "I'll put officers on your garage," James offered. "No, they'll be watching for that." Sam allowed himself a small smile. "Besides, I'm counting on them trying something." Back at his garage, Sam found Kelly exactly where he'd left her, working on the Wilson's truck. But something was wrong. The girl's hands were shaking. "They came by," Kelly said quietly, "while you were gone. Stone himself." Sam's expression hardened. "What did he say?" That I should find a new job. Said apprenticing here could be hazardous to my health." Kelly swallowed hard. "He knew things, Mr. Cooper, about my family, my little sister's school schedule." Sam placed a steady hand on Kelly's shoulder. "Listen carefully. Go home. Pack bags for your family. Tell your mom to take that vacation she's been talking about. Don't tell anyone where you're going. But trust me." After Kelly left, Sam began preparing his garage again. Not like last night. That had been about sending a message. Tonight would be different. Tonight would be about ending things. His phone buzzed. "James. Taylor just left the police station. Took personal files with him. Then Anna. 2 more overdose cases. Hospital's overwhelmed. Something's happening." Finally, Stone. "Should have paid for protection. Now you get to watch everything burn." Sam moved through his garage, setting up equipment that had nothing to do with auto repair. In the conflict zones, they'd called him the Ghost, the EOD specialist who could dismantle explosive networks without leaving a trace. Red Skull was about to learn why. As darkness fell, Sam made one last call to an old bomb squad contact in federal law enforcement. "Remember that favor you owe me. Time to collect. I'm going to need resources, and I need them fast." Through his security cameras, Sam watched Red Skull members taking up positions around his garage. More than last night, better armed. No forced witnesses this time. They thought they were coming to destroy one man's business. Instead, they were walking into a trap carefully designed by someone who'd spent 15 years taking down operations exactly like theirs. Sam's phone buzzed one final time. "James, in position. Are you sure about this?" Sam typed back, Tonight, we find out what Red Skull's really doing in Millbrook Heights. Then he turned off the lights and waited in the darkness of his garage, ready to spring a trap that would change Millbrook Heights forever. Sam watched through his security feeds as Red Skull encircled his garage. Unlike last night's shock and awe tactics, they moved with silent precision. Stone had brought his elite crew, ex-military by their movements, each one armed with more than just vandalism tools. Police scanners quiet, James's voice whispered through Sam's earpiece. Taylor's keeping local units away. State police mysteriously redirected to a drug bust 2 counties over. Sam checked his watch, 11:55 p.m. Anna, status at the hospital? 7 overdoses now, his wife replied, her voice tense. Lab results are strange. These aren't normal street drugs. The chemical structure is engineered. Through the cameras, Sam watched Jackson and Cruz coordinating teams around the garage's perimeter. Professional work. They were treating this like a tactical operation. James, what did the lab find in those bike compartments? Preliminary results just came in. Traces of industrial chemicals, the kind used in specialized manufacturing. The pieces clicked into place. They're not just distributing drugs, Sam realized. They're testing something new. Millbrook Heights is their proving ground. Movement. At the garage's rear entrance caught his attention. 2 Red Skull members were approaching with industrial cutting tools. Not here for intimidation this time. They meant to breach. All teams in position. Cruz's voice carried through Sam's directional microphones. No witnesses tonight. We do this clean. Remember, Stone added, the mechanic is mine. Send the message, then torch it all. Sam keyed his radio. James, hold your people back until my signal. No matter what you hear. The first cutting torch sparked to life, attacking the garage's reinforced rear door. Sam moved silently through his prepared kill house, activating systems that had nothing to do with auto repair. The breach came simultaneously from 3 points. Professional coordination. Red Skull members poured in, expecting to overwhelm a simple mechanic. Instead, they found themselves in a carefully crafted maze of death. Industrial lights strobed chaotically, disorienting enhanced night vision gear. Smoke machines filled the space with thick fog, while Sam's custom speaker system disoriented with subsonic pulses. He'd turned his garage into a tactical nightmare. Contact! Someone shouted, firing at shadows. Sam moved like a ghost through his domain, using his intimate knowledge of the layout to devastating effect. Years of EOD experience combined with home field advantage, 3 Red Skull members went down in the first 30 seconds, not dead, but efficiently disabled. Sam's modified tools became weapons in practiced hands. A wrench here, a pneumatic line. There, each movement calculated. It's a trap! Cruz's voice carried over the chaos. Fall back! And then an explosion rocked the night, not from Sam's garage, but from across town. Then another and another. Multiple explosions reported. James's voice crackled through Sam's earpiece. Red Skull's warehouse, their storage facilities, they're destroying evidence. Through the smoke and chaos, Sam spotted Stone moving with purpose toward the garage's office, not attacking, not participating in the firefight. He was after something specific. James, the explosions, they're destroying their manufacturing labs, but they'd need to move their product first, check traffic cameras for their transport routes. Sam moved to intercept Stone, but Jackson appeared through the smoke, wielding military-grade weapons. The fight was brief, brutal, and technically illegal in 3 states. Jackson was good, Special Forces good, but Sam had spent 15 years preparing for exactly this kind of close-quarters combat. Stay down, Sam advised the unconscious enforcer, securing him with zip ties. In the office, Stone was accessing Sam's computer systems, downloading files. Sam's appearance in the doorway made him freeze. Figured it out yet? Stone asked, still typing. What we're really doing here? testing grounds for something new. Millbrook Heights is perfect. Isolated, controlled access, corrupt local law enforcement. You're not just cooking meth or running heroin. You're pioneering something. Stone smiled coldly. Close. We're not just pioneering, we're revolutionizing. Our chemists have created something unique, highly addictive, nearly impossible to trace. The overdose cases, testing different formulas, studying effects. Millbrook Heights is just the first step. And the protection racket, distribution network. Once we perfect the formula, we'll have a delivery system already in place. Every business under our protection becomes a distribution point. By the time anyone realizes what's happening, it'll be too late. Sam moved closer, noting Stone's hand moving toward a concealed weapon. Why tell me this? Because you're already dead. This whole place is wired to burn in 10 minutes. There won't be any evidence left, just another tragic accident. Local. Mechanic dies in garage fire. Should have paid for protection. 10 minutes, Sam allowed himself a small smile. That's about 9 minutes longer than I need. The fight that followed would be talked about in whispered tones around Millbrook Heights for years. Stone was military trained, experienced in close-quarters combat, but Sam had spent 2 decades perfecting the art of taking down exactly this kind of operation. Tools became weapons, shadows became allies. The office transformed into an arena, where 2 professionals demonstrated exactly why they were considered deadly in their former careers. Federal agents just intercepted 3 Red Skull transport vehicles. James's voice crackled through Sam's earpiece. They're loaded with lab equipment and chemical supplies. Stone, hearing this, laughed through bloodied lips. Doesn't matter. Can't stop what's coming. We're not just some gang. We're backed by people you can't touch. Corporate money, political connections. That's why you're destroying everything, Sam realized, maintaining his combat stance. Protecting your real backers. Millbrook Heights was just the test run. We've got operations setting up in 12 other towns. You can't stop. The rest was lost as the first explosive charge detonated, starting the garage's planned destruction. Stone used the distraction to break free, running into the smoke-filled main area. James, move in now. Full breach. State Police tactical units swarmed the building as the fire spread. Red Skull members found themselves caught between Sam's traps and professionally executed law enforcement containment. Through the chaos, Stone disappeared, but not before Sam placed a tracker on him during their fight. Some habits from bomb disposal you never lost. As the garage burned, Sam watched from outside. The physical building might be destroyed, but he'd accomplished what he needed. Red Skull's operation was exposed, their test program disrupted. His phone buzzed one last time that night, an unknown number. You have no idea what you've started. This goes higher than you can imagine. Sam smiled slightly, watching his garage burn, while federal agents processed captured Red Skull members. They thought destroying his business would be the end. Instead, it was just the beginning of a war that would expose corruption at the highest levels of Millbrook Heights and beyond. Dawn painted Millbrook Heights in shades of grey smoke as firefighters contained the last embers of Sam's garage. Federal agents swarmed the scene, processing evidence and detained Red Skull members. But Sam's attention was on his phone, watching the tracker he'd planted on Stone. Targets heading north on Highway 23, James reported, coordinating with state police. 3 vehicles in convoy, heavy escort. Let him run, Sam replied, studying building blueprints on his tablet. He'll lead us to something bigger. Anna arrived from her hospital shift, still in scrubs. Her face showed the strain of dealing with the overdose crisis. Lab results came back on the latest victims. The chemical composition keeps changing. They're refining something. Sam showed her Stone's downloaded files, technical documents, chemical formulas, trial results. They're weaponizing addiction, creating designer drugs that can be mass-produced and distributed through legitimate businesses, like a protection racket that's actually a delivery network. But here's what doesn't make sense, James added, joining them. The investment level, the equipment we seized, the lab setup, the personnel, this is corporate-grade operation, way beyond a gang's resources. Sam's secure phone buzzed, a message from his old EOD contact in the FBI. You were right. Red Skull's finances trace back to shell companies. Big money behind this. Watch your back. Mr. Cooper. Kelly's voice cut through the morning air. The apprentice ran up, clutching her phone. You need to see this. The local news feed showed. Chaos across Millbrook Heights. Multiple businesses that had refused Red Skull's protection were finding their customers mysteriously ill. The hospital was overwhelmed. They're triggering a crisis, Sam realized, forcing the town to depend on their protection. That's not all. Kelly swiped through her phone. Social media's blowing up. Other towns reporting similar patterns. Red Skull's not just here, they're everywhere. James's radio crackled. Multiple jurisdictions reporting Red Skull activity, like they're not even trying to hide anymore. Because they don't need to, Sam studied the pattern. Millbrook Heights was their test run. Now they're going wide with the operation. A sleek black SUV pulled up, and a man in an expensive suit emerged. Mr. Cooper, Marcus Rivers, DEA Special Operations. We need to talk. Inside a makeshift command center, Rivers spread out surveillance photos. They showed Stone meeting with corporate executives, politicians, even foreign businessmen. Red Skull's just the muscle, Rivers explained. They're working for a consortium of pharmaceutical companies and private military contractors, creating a new market for designer drugs that can be legally manufactured and distributed, using motorcycle gangs as cover. Sam noted the strategy. Smart. Keep it looking street level while building corporate infrastructure. We've been tracking them for months, but Millbrook Heights, you forced their hand, made them sloppy. Rivers studied Sam. Your EOD reputation was impressive. How'd you like to help us take down their entire operation? Before Sam could answer, his phone buzzed with a message from Stone. Should have stayed a simple mechanic. Now you've got their attention. Hope you're ready for what comes next. Surveillance feeds showed Red Skull members regrouping at locations across 3 states. Not retreating, repositioning like pieces on a chessboard. They're not running, James observed. They're preparing for something. Anna's phone lit up with more hospital alerts. The mysterious illnesses were spreading, creating panic. People were demanding protection, demanding someone take control. Classic destabilization tactic, Sam recognized the pattern. Create a crisis, then offer the solution. They're not just selling drugs, they're selling control. Kelly, who'd been quietly monitoring social media, spoke up. Mr. Cooper, look at this. People are fighting back. Your stand at the garage. It's inspiring others. Other towns are organizing against Red Skull. Rivers nodded. That's why we need you. This isn't just about one town anymore. They're trying to establish a new kind of criminal empire. Corporate-backed, legally ambiguous, hiding behind legitimate businesses. Sam studied the evidence, the patterns emerging. Red Skull had chosen Millbrook Heights, thinking it would be an easy target. Instead, they'd given him exactly what he needed, a chance to expose something much bigger. I'll help, Sam decided, but we do this my way. No official channels, no paperwork. They've got too many connections, too many bought officials. What's your play? James asked. They want to use legitimate businesses as cover. Fine, let's use that against them. Every mechanic, every shop owner, every small business they tried to intimidate, turn them into assets, a network to fight their network. Rivers caught on, using their own tactics against them. Sam's phone buzzed again, an encrypted message. From his FBI contact. Corporate board meeting tonight, all major players present, sending coordinates. First, Sam turned to Kelly. I need you to reach out to every business owner who stood up to Red Skull. Tell them it's time to fight back, not with violence, with information. Every delivery, every suspicious customer, every unusual payment. We build our own intelligence. Network. Already on it, Kelly grinned, fingers flying over her phone. People are ready. They just needed someone to show them it's possible. I'll coordinate with other hospitals, Anna added. Track their distribution patterns through overdose cases. And I'll work my police contacts, James offered. Not everyone's. Corrupt. Some are just waiting for a chance to do the right thing. Rivers watched this impromptu resistance forming with approval. You're really doing this? Taking on a corporate-backed criminal empire with a bunch of small-town business owners? They thought they could control Millbrook Heights through fear and corruption, Sam replied, already planning his next move. Time to show them what happens when people stop being afraid and start working together. His phone lit up with one final message from Stone himself. You have no idea what's coming. No, Sam murmured, watching Kelly coordinate with other business owners, seeing Anna organize medical data, observing James build a network of trusted law enforcement. You have no idea what's coming. You thought destroying my garage would silence me. Instead, you just helped create exactly what Millbrook Heights needed, a reason to fight back. Around him, the makeshift command center hummed, with activity as ordinary citizens began organizing against an extraordinary threat. The war for Millbrook Heights was about to become something much bigger, and Red Skull was about to learn why targeting a former bomb squad specialist's garage was their biggest mistake yet. The corporate boardroom towered 40 stories above. The city, all glass and steel and power. Through high-powered surveillance equipment, Sam watched Red Skull's real masters gathering for their emergency meeting. 12 targets confirmed, James reported from their mobile command post. CEOs from 3 pharmaceutical companies, private military contractors, even a state senator. They're spooked, Rivers added, monitoring communications. Millbrook Heights was supposed to be their proof of concept. Now they're scrambling to contain the damage. Sam studied the security layout. Unlike his garage, this wasn't a battlefield. He could control professional guards, electronic surveillance, biometric locks, serious corporate security. Update from Kelly. Anna's voice came through the comm. Our business network tracked unusual deliveries to 4 new locations. They're trying to set up alternate manufacturing sites. Not trying, Sam corrected. Succeeding. This meeting isn't about damage control, it's about acceleration. They're going to flood the market, create a crisis too big to contain. Through their surveillance, they watched Stone enter the building, escorted directly to the top floor. The gang leader looked out of place among the suits and ties, but his presence was telling. They're keeping their street muscle close, James noted. Even here. Because they're scared, Sam explained. Not of us, of their own people. Corporate. Empires are built on loyalty to profit, but Red Skull's loyal to Stone. If he turns on them, a new voice cut through their comms. Mr. Cooper, impressive operation you've got here. Sam recognized the voice from news broadcasts. Charles Whitmore, CEO of Pharmatech Industries, one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the country. Didn't know corporate executives handled their own security communications, Sam replied calmly, signaling James to trace the intrusion. Let's be direct, Whitmore continued. You're interfering with something far beyond a simple gang. We're creating a controlled distribution network for the next generation of therapeutic chemicals, using innocent people as lab rats, using willing participants in a groundbreaking medical trial. The addiction aspects are regrettable but necessary. Think bigger, Mr. Cooper. This isn't about drugs. It's about control, medical, social, financial. James muted his comm. Signals bouncing through satellites. Can't trace it. What's your offer? Sam kept Whitmore talking. Smart man. We could use someone with your skills. Your EOD record is impressive. How does 8 figures sound? Plus full medical coverage for that wife of yours. Hospitals are such dangerous places these days. The threat was subtle but clear. Sam thought of Anna working her hospital shift, exposed and vulnerable. If anything happens to my wife, just business, Mr. Cooper, like what's about to happen at Millbrook Heights General Hospital. Tragic how many medication errors occur during emergency situations. Sam's blood ran cold. Anna was working the emergency room tonight, dealing with another wave of Red Skull's test subjects. Sarah already moving, James reported. Strike teams redirecting to the hospital, but Whitmore wasn't finished. And young Kelly, such a promising mechanic, would be a shame if her family's auto parts store lost those government contracts. Hard to afford college without steady income. Through their surveillance, Sam watched more corporate players entering the boardroom. All that power, all that money, focused on turning Millbrook Heights into their private laboratory. Last chance, Mr. Cooper, Whitmore announced. Walk away. Generous compensation, full protection, or watch everything you care about burn. Sam's response was to trigger the first phase of his real operation. Across the city, carefully planted, evidence began uploading to law enforcement agencies, media outlets, and regulatory bodies. Financial records, chemical formulas, test data, everything they'd gathered about Red Skull's corporate masters. What did you do? Whitmore's voice turned sharp. The thing about mechanics, Sam replied calmly, is we understand systems, how they work, how they fail, and most importantly, how to take them apart. Alarms began blaring in the corporate tower. As their security systems detected the information breach, guards rushed to protect the boardroom, but they were looking for physical threats, not digital ones. You have no idea what you've just started, Whitmore snarled. Wrong, Sam replied, watching his community's coordinated resistance through their improvised surveillance network. I know exactly what I've started. Check your stock prices. Financial alerts flashed across their monitors as trading algorithms detected the scandal brewing. Share prices began plummeting as evidence of corporate corruption hit the markets. James, hospital status? Security teams in place. Anna is safe. They tried something, but we were ready. 2 Red Skull members in custody. Through their surveillance, they watched the corporate boardroom erupt into chaos as executives realized their exposure. Stone stood apart, watching his supposed masters unravel. This isn't over. Whitmore's voice had lost its corporate smoothness, revealing something harder. You think you can fight us with information? We own the media, the courts, the regulators. Maybe, Sam agreed, but you made a crucial mistake. And what's that? A community that's not afraid anymore. Check your phone. Across Millbrook Heights and neighboring towns, business owners were going public with evidence of Red Skull's operation. Not just local shops, but suppliers, distributors, transport companies. The entire network they'd tried to build through intimidation was turning against them. Impossible, Whitmore breathed. The protection contracts were signed. Under duress, Sam finished. Legally void. And now, sir, a panicked voice interrupted their call. FDA agents just entered the building. They have warrants. Sam allowed himself a small smile. Like I said, mechanics understand systems, including legal ones. The corporate boardroom devolved into pandemonium as federal agents breached their secured floor. But through the chaos, Sam watched Stone slip away, not running but moving with purpose. Let him go, Rivers advised. We've got bigger fish. No, Sam countered. Stone's not running from arrest. He's executing a contingency plan. James, an explosion rocked the city's industrial district, then another. Multiple fires reported at chemical storage facilities, James confirmed. They're destroying evidence, Anna added urgently. Hospitals getting swamped with new cases. This isn't random. They're creating a mass exposure event. Through their surveillance, they watched Whitmore being led away in handcuffs, still somehow maintaining his corporate demeanor. But his last words over their compromised comms were chilling. You wanted a war, Mr. Cooper? Welcome to corporate warfare. Sam was already moving, coordinating their response teams. Red Skull had just raised the stakes, turning Millbrook Heights into a chemical battleground. But they were about to learn the difference between corporate power and community strength. His phone buzzed one last time from Stone. Should have taken the money, now we do this the hard way. Sam smiled grimly. They thought attacking his garage was their biggest move. Instead, it had just been the opening shot in a war that would reshape Millbrook Heights forever. Shadow Falls became a war zone as chemical alarms blared across the industrial district. Red Skull's contingency plan turned the city's own infrastructure against its people. Through emergency channels, Sam coordinated their response from the mobile command center. 14 exposure sites confirmed, Anna reported from the hospital. We're seeing symptoms we can't identify. Whatever they released, it's engineered for maximum effect. They're demonstrating their power, Sam analyzed, studying the contamination pattern. Show us what happens when we fight back. James's voice crackled through. 2 more explosions at water treatment facilities. They're not just destroying evidence, they're creating a distribution system through the municipal water supply. Through their surveillance network, they tracked Red Skull teams, moving with military precision. Stone had turned their retreat into a tactical offensive. Kelly, status on our business network? Going dark, Mr. Cooper. Red Skull hitting anyone who helped us. 3 shops firebombed, owners threatened. But people aren't backing down. They're sharing information through the backup channels we created. Sam watched emergency services struggling to contain the crisis, but something about the pattern felt wrong. Rivers, check the corporate angle. Why would they risk exposing their operation like this? Already on it, the DEA agent replied. Stock markets are chaotic. While we focused on pharmatech, someone's been buying up shares in water treatment. Companies, emergency response contractors. They're manufacturing a crisis to profit from the solution. Sam realized the chemical release isn't just retaliation, it's market manipulation. Anna's urgent voice cut in. Sam, hospital's getting overwhelmed. We need the treatment protocol for whatever they're using. Sam studied the chemical data they'd seized. Stone's too smart to release something without having an antidote. Find him, we find the cure. The tracker Sam had planted showed Stone's position at an abandoned factory on the edge of town, but approaching it triggered memories from his EOD days. The setup was too perfect, too exposed. James, any word from our corporate informants? They're terrified. Whitmore's arrest spooked them, but someone higher up is keeping them in line. We're missing a piece. Through their network of small business owners, reports kept flowing in. Red Skull members were systematically targeting anyone who'd helped expose them. Sam's final message to the community rang across emergency channels. Remember why it started. They chose Millbrook Heights because they thought we were simple, limited, predictable. Time to show them just how wrong they were. Sam's bomb squad training had taught him one crucial lesson. Every explosive device, no matter how complex, could be disarmed if you understood its core components. The same principle applied here. Red Skull's corporate backers had built an empire on fear and control, but they'd forgotten something fundamental. Communities, like bombs, couldn't be controlled through force alone. The final confrontation came at dawn. Stone and his corporate masters had unleashed their full arsenal. Chemical weapons, bought officials, professional killers, but they found themselves facing not just a former bomb disposal expert, but an entire town that refused to be afraid. Every mechanic, shop owner, and citizen played their part. Kelly's network of small businesses became an intelligence web. Anna's medical team developed countermeasures. James's loyal officers stood their ground. Together, they didn't just fight back. They systematically dismantled Red Skull's entire operation. When it was over, Stone and his corporate masters found themselves trapped by the very systems they'd tried to use against Millbrook Heights. The evidence was irrefutable, the charges impossible to dodge. The town had done more than survive. It had exposed a conspiracy that reached into the highest levels of corporate power. Sam rebuilt his garage, not just as a repair shop, but as a symbol of what happens when people stand together against intimidation. The scars from that night remained, but they told a story of courage, unity, and the power of understanding how things really work, whether it's bombs, engines, or communities. Remember, they thought they were targeting just another small town. Garage in Millbrook Heights. What they didn't realize was that sometimes the most dangerous people are the ones who look the most ordinary, and the strongest weapons aren't the ones you can see. If you enjoyed this story of courage and community standing up against corruption, make sure to hit subscribe. We've got more incredible tales of ordinary heroes doing extraordinary things coming your way. And remember, in every town, there are people like Sam Cooper, quiet professionals whose greatest weapon isn't their past training, but their unwavering commitment to protecting their community. Hit that subscribe button now and don't miss our next thrilling story tomorrow. It's absolutely mind-blowing.